This is such a strange place for a door. What if what's holding you back isn't the obvious thing? Not the workload, not missing ideas, but a threshold you can't yet see. A place where you keep stopping without quite knowing why. In this video, we explore how invisible limits can become visible and why seeing them is often the first step from functioning to creating.
We also share something today we've just created with a lot of love and care. A self-check that helps you see where you still function, where you already create, and where your next threshold may be.
This is such a strange place for a door.
True.
Usually a door makes sense because there's a wall. But there's no wall or anything else that would stop you. No fence, no boundary. You could just walk around it.
And yet the artist Sebastian David placed it exactly here. It shows something that would otherwise be hidden. Here's the threshold. Here a transition can begin. It's not about a magical portal into another world. The landscape behind it is quite similar. And yet I enter it differently when I consciously walk through this door.
In our last episode, when the trail ends, the threshold was obvious. The path ended and you had the choice to either stop or step into the wilderness, to either keep things running or shaping what matters. When the path stops, you notice something else begins here in a way that makes things clear and easy.
But in everyday life, it is often different. The calendar keeps going, the meetings keep going, the responsibilities keep going. From the outside, everything looks normal. And still, you may find yourself stopping at the same place again and again. Or you notice what you are doing does not make you fully alive anymore. The boundary is not visible like a wall. It's more like a glass line on an invisible map.
Maybe the most important question is not immediately, how do I get through? But first, where is that boundary actually? Where do I keep stopping again and again? And where am I on this map? If I cannot see where I'm standing, I cannot move forward consciously. I may keep struggling in the wrong place, or I may keep moving in circles and think it's because I lack discipline or courage or clarity.
But once I make this boundary visible, I have a map that gives me clues about the territory. It becomes something I can work with, I can relate to. I can look for a door and start moving.
One reason these boundaries stay invisible is the way we interpret reality. There's research on mindset from psychologist Carol Dweck that I find very useful here. She studied how people relate to challenge, failure and learning.
You mean fixed mindset and growth mindset?
Yes, exactly. Those typical fixed mindset sentences like, I can't do that. I cannot change that. This is how things are done. I hear those a lot.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you find that familiar in leadership. I'm not the visionary type. I'm not good at initiating things. This is not how our organization works. We tried that before. There's no space for that right now.
Those sentences, those invisible boundaries become powerful when we mistake them for reality. Actually, they often feel like reality, like immovable stop signs.
Yes, and often they point to real constraints. They can live in beliefs, in habits, in calendars, in relationships, cultures, structures.
These boundaries become more movable when we recognize maybe this is an assumption, maybe it's a pattern, maybe this is just a threshold, not the end. This is how someone with a growth mindset would look at it. That does not mean pretending everything is easy. It just means asking a different kind of questions. For example, what could I learn here? What could become possible? What would be one small experiment to get a taste of the other side? Is this really an impenetrable wall, or is it just a threshold?
But the question remains, how do I find the walls? And how do I find the doors?
This is exactly why we created the Creator Leadership Self-Check for you. A tool to find your invisible boundaries and your doors. It's free, and you'll find the link in the description below.
You will respond to 16 short situations from leadership, everyday work, and inner experience. Based on your answers, you'll get your personal Creator Leadership Profile. It shows you, where am I still functioning? Where am I already creating? Where is a boundary? And where are my most promising doors?
And after you took the self-check, you also get access to the free Creator Week. 1 week of impulses and small practical tools to help you move from functioning to creating. What I really like about this gate is it doesn't say you must go through, it doesn't push, it just marks. It says, here a transition is possible.
Maybe that's what we can learn. We don't always have to wait until the path ends. We can mark a threshold ourselves. We can build our own doors. We can say, here's where I want to stop just functioning and start creating. Not necessarily as a huge leap, but more like a conscious first step.
Once you walk through that door, everything becomes exciting, new, interesting, challenging. Look at this.
Wow.
I think sometimes you can only see what creating really means once you walk through that door to the other side and try it yourself. Before you said it's quite the same landscape behind the door. But you said it before you walked through. you didn't know that it is actually a magical landscape. You just couldn't imagine what it is like to be on the creator's side. I think you cannot judge what it is like to be in creator mode when you haven't tried it out. So I highly recommend you try it out. Go into creator mode.